Good evening, guys. Welcome back to Minute on the Mountain. Today we're going to be doing a product review video of the Artemis T28 flashlight from Brinyte. They reached out to me a few weeks ago and asked me if I would do a review video on it, and so I thank them for the opportunity to do that. I'm going to flip the camera around and change the angle where you're looking right on top of it for the unboxing. We'll go through the instruction manual that comes with it, everything that comes in the box. Then we're going to test it outside. I'm going to give you some footage off my back deck at some things like my shed and the trees, and then I'm going to do some footage where I stand 100 yards from a target and then 200 yards from a target and put the light on it. And I'll have a camera that I'm holding, but I'm also going to place a camera right at the object that I'm putting the flashlight on, which is going to be my cooler. And so hopefully you can kind of see how well it lights it up at 100 yards and 200 yards. So one of the things I noticed right off the bat, it's zoomable. It's tricolor. It's going to have a green, a red, and a white. And again, this is the T28 Artemis from Brinyte. So let's flip this around and do the unboxing. All right, so here's the packaging. The packaging is nice, I will say. It's got the magnetic lid on the box, so it snaps down there. Here we've got kind of our instruction manual and specs. So here are the technical parameters. I'm just going to put this up close. If you guys want to pause that, you can read all the technical aspects of it. It gives you instructions on how to do the battery installation, etc. Okay, then I see the light itself. So we've got a green, white, and red color, which we can just flip with just the switch. That's nice. To change the beam, you're going to move this, just twist the head to make it more of a spot or more concentrated. You can telescope it with that. To put the batteries in, you're going to take the tail cap off. All the threads seem nice. It fits snug. Nothing loose about it, which is nice. Here's your tail cap. So you're going to push that down and hold it for a few seconds to turn it on. And then to turn it off, you just simply press it. It turns off pretty fast. So let's look at the rest of the accessories in here. So you're going to get battery. It runs on one battery. Rechargeable. You can add this to the tail cap. So you can replace it with this. Here's your power switch, your bright and your dim. It does have a dimmer on this, which can extend your battery life, obviously. And let's see if there's anything else. It looks like there's a little lanyard in here. Has a charging cord in it, but I do not see anywhere on the flashlight where you can charge it. So they're assuming you have some sort of battery charger. And I give you the charging cord for it, but you've got to have, oh no, I lied, I'm sorry guys. It's directly on the battery. So you can recharge the battery with this charging cord right into the battery. Other flashlights that I've tested had a separate charger, and you plug the charger into the power source and then put the batteries in the charger. This one, you can actually charge right into the battery, which could be a handy feature. It's one less thing you have to keep track of. Okay, so that's everything that came in it. So we'll put the battery in and we'll head out on the deck and we'll give it a test. All right, everybody, we're on my back deck. We're going to do the initial testing on the Artemis from Brinyte. So I've got it on the white light, as you can see. That's my shed. My shed is just at 20 yards from the back deck. There's our apple trees. Again, right at 20. Now, if I go further out, it's always hard to see in the GoPro. Our neighbor's fence line runs out all the way to about 180 yards. And I can barely see the end of it at 180. So again, I don't know that you'll be able to tell on the GoPro. So that's at the white light. Be patient, I'm gonna flip this to the green. And let's see if we get the same kind of results with the green. Still, the close-up stuff, still see the shed, apple trees. I can't make out, well, yeah, I can. I can barely make out the end of the fence with green, but certainly not with as much confidence as I could with the white. And let's go to the last color here, which is the red. So there you've got the red view of the shed and the apple trees, fence line. And I would say the red is, again, I can tell that's the end of the fence, but only because I know where it is from the white light. So the red, you know, you don't see quite as far as I could see with the green, and the green is less than the white. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go set up either a board or a cooler or something at 100 yards, and I'm going to put another camera right next to it so that you can see what it looks like right there at the camera. So that'll be the next thing we do. Okay guys, that is at 50 yards. So again, I've got the camera up right on the cooler. So first I'll be at 50. Then we'll go back to 100. I'm just going to do the red first. All right, we're at 100 yards now with the red. There's 100 yards with the white. And 100 yards with the green. All right, we're at 200. I can see the cooler. That's with the green. I have no idea what it's going to look like up on that other camera, but I can see it. I can see it clearly with the white. And I can barely see it with the red. Last thing I wanted to mention before I do kind of my final thoughts on the flashlight was the battery run length. So if you have it on the highest setting on the white light, they tell you you're going to get 135 minutes, so 2 hours, 15 minutes. 220 minutes on red, so that's going to get you over 3 hours, and 270 minutes on green, which will get you over 4 hours. That's a pretty good run time. I did a similar test to this on the Otapro, I think it's the K52 and K62, and if it gets those run times, that's going to be very comparable to the run times I got on those. I hope to get this out for a longer test, so maybe next spring, if they do a crazy shed closure like they did this last year, and I have to do a midnight shed hunt, I'll take both one of these Brinytes with me and one of the Otapro, and we'll kind of do a side-by-side test. But overall, I really like the packaging. I know that may sound silly to you guys, but when companies pay attention to detail on packaging, it makes me think they probably pay attention to detail on some of the other stuff as well. It's not heavy at all. It's very light. Now, this one is not billed as a hunting flashlight. The reason I bring that up, it didn't include with it a mount to put it on your scope if you wanted to use it as a hunting flashlight. Whereas some of the other flashlights I've tested that bill themselves as a hunting flashlight, they included the mount for your scope. I think you could easily use this on a scope. I mean, I could see when I was out putting the flashlight on that cooler at 200 yards, especially with the white light and the green, I could see that cooler just fine. So I think you could definitely use it. You'll just need to have some other option to mount it. It doesn't come with a way to mount it to your scope. But overall, I was very impressed. I've always just used little headlamps. I've never really had a nice flashlight with the kind of lumens that these put out. So I'm always impressed by them. So, you know, I don't think you could go wrong if you're looking for something that's going to be reliable. When I had it on the flood, I mean, it lights up half of my front yard when I really zoom out the beam. So anyway, that's the T28 Artemis by Brinyte. I'm going to put a link in the description if you want to get one of these. I'll have it in there where you can get more information. And I appreciate them sending it to me and giving me the opportunity to test it. Thank you guys for coming along. I'm going to wrap this up. We'll do the Minute on the Mountain in a second. Let's go ahead and wrap this up with the Minute on the Mountain. Since we did a flashlight review, I thought we'd talk about walking in the light. It comes from 1 John chapter 5. I'm going to read the passage to you. It says, "This is the message we have heard from him and proclaimed to you, that God is light and in him is no darkness at all. If we say we have fellowship with him while we walk in the darkness, we lie and do not practice the truth. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus, his son, cleanses us from all sin. If we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us and cleanse us from all unrighteousness." So walking in the light doesn't mean that we walk in perfection. You know, if you look at this passage, we don't have to be perfect to walk in the light. You know, as believers, we're still going to have sin in our life. Now, hopefully that sin is less and less. We should be sanctified. We should look more like Jesus as we grow in our faith. But walking in the darkness is hiding sin. Walking in the darkness is being in habitual sin where you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want anyone else to know about it. That's what it means here by walking in the darkness. So it's so important to have people around us that can hold us accountable, that we can be just brutally honest with, and they can be brutally honest with us. That's how we stay walking in the light. You know, stay connected to the vine, stay connected to Jesus, and don't try to hide things. You know, be open about your shortcomings, be open about the areas where you're struggling. That will allow us to keep walking in the light. That's the Minute on the Mountain tonight, 1 John chapter 5. Thanks so much for coming along, guys. Appreciate all your support. And we'll see you the next time we're out on the mountain.